We've all heard the horror stories. A home remodel that drags on for months, jobs that never get finished, or projects that fall apart right after you pay the bill. Consumer advocates say every year home repair complaints are among the most common. Senior investigator Rebecca Lindstrom knows. She gets the calls all the time, I am sure. So when it comes to trying to find the right contractor or handyman, it can just be so tough, Rebecca.
We get emails and calls from viewers all the time who say there is just so little accountability in this process. And, well, they're right. The reality is that finding the right person for the job, whether big or small, really is going to fall to you. But just as frustrating is that research process, because that also isn't always obvious.
And what do you mean by that, not so obvious?
We met one woman, her name is Eve Overland. She is building a deck, and we went out to talk to her in DeKalb County. She hired Richard Bonacore with Echelon Restoration and Construction to build this deck. And after seeing him on another project, she thought, oh, this guy would be great for the job. So she paid him $28,000. And after all of that money, she felt that the workmanship was poor and the project was weeks past deadline. So she fired him and she hired another company to start the project completely over. And she told me these new contractors have done more work in 4 days than Richard did in almost 4 months. She calls this whole process financially devastating.
We immediately saw a bow in the frame, right? And I took a picture and I said, hey, there is a bow in the frame. And then he likes to, it's a favorite excuse is it's not done. You know, once we finish it, we'll take that bow out. If you look at any other deck or porch, there's always going to be a bow in everything because wood is a natural material. Okay, so he can explain away everything, but that doesn't take away the bow in the deck. It did kind of subside. He was able to fix it, but that was a red flag. I'm like, he's.
And we found several other pretty serious allegations about jobs he has worked on in the past, often involving missing money. We reached out to the contractor to get his take on it all, and he denies that any money went missing, that it was always spent on the project. And he invited me out to see another deck to show the quality of his work. And admittedly, it looked good. He says a lot of clients just don't understand the process, and he denies doing anything wrong.
What I would say is there's several sides to, or two sides to every story, at least two. And, you know, I may not feel that what they're saying is what actually how it played out. You know, if I was stealing or if I was taking people's funds intentionally and spending them on myself or going on elaborate vacations, which I've seen in the news quite a few times, where are those vacations?
Okay, so several customers upset with the quality work, but then another house that looks good. You saw it for yourself.
Right. So what do you do? And this is why people are so frustrated that the state just doesn't have a better way to vet these companies and understand, or these individuals in many cases, to understand what's going on and then maybe see the outcome of those investigations. Several of the homeowners we talked with said they started to vet Bonacore by checking with the Secretary of State's office to see if his company had a business license, and he did. But here's the problem. That listing only shows if the business is registered, not whether it is reputable. And not every job requires a contractor to have the other element, a professional state license. So figuring that out is probably a good first step.
So you still got to do some more homework. I mean, what more should you do here?
Absolutely. I mean, certainly there are online reviews. This is certainly an indication that if you have a good experience or a bad experience, write that review, because a lot of people could be depending on that to make other decisions as to whether they're going to hire this person for the job. And, you know, the thing is, these situations usually just end up being civil disputes. And so you've got to go file a lawsuit, and you really want to avoid that, because even if you win the judgment, well, you might not ever collect. So one tool I have found that a lot of people don't think about is checking out those lawsuits to see, have they filed one against this business or this individual, and did they win? And
you have to go to the courthouse for that, or you can do it online?
You can do it online.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Okay. But you got to do your homework,
you got to do
Rebecca.
The work.
It's important, especially $28,000
That's a lot of money.
deck. All right, thank you. Hey, if you have a tip you and our investigators to look into, call us at 404-873-9111 or email us at investigates@11alive.com.